Welcome to the Political Matrix News. We have the sources, we have the truth from inside the political matrix. Hey, welcome to the Political Matrix News. Rob Milford in Orlando, Greg Fink in Gainesville, Scott Miller in Pensacola. We get together every week or so and talk about politics, chew the fat, shoot the whatever needs shooting, and see if we can figure out why the hell Sean Hannity is still popular on both radio and TV. And it's, gang, I got to tell you, I did 40 years in radio. I've never heard a show more phoned in than Sean Hannity's, and I stand by that. When you use the same liners for the same breaks every day, because it's a really busy news Tuesday, a busy news Wednesday. Now that I say these things, you're going to hear him and go, yeah, he's calling it in. So there is plenty of stuff going on as we go to tape to record this, which is digital, not tape anymore. We're doing it on Tuesday. This is the 12th of November. It is 4 days after the Edmund Fitzgerald sank in 1974, so 50 years ago. It is a day after Veterans Day and a week after the election. Probably the great, I just want to keep spiking the football. But what has come to my attention is this. Donald Trump seems to be going after stalwart elected conservative Republicans nationwide. We're talking about the next generation of leadership. He's going after them to get them into Washington to meld the way he wants them. We're talking about gutting the Florida congressional delegation. Holy crap. You guys watching this?
It'll get replaced. It will be replaced. I mean, we got Tim Walz, the National Security Advisor, who's a congressman.
It's not Tim, it's Mike Walz.
Sorry, Mike Walz. Is reporting instead there.
Yeah, well, don't forget.
There's a big difference.
4 times today. Mike Walz.
Donald Trump went through
he's going to be replaced by another Republican, though.
Yeah, but that's Volusia County, Daytona Beach, New Smyrna Beach, that sort of thing, DeLand, Deltona. That's just up the road for me a little bit. But don't forget, the burnout on national security advisors for Donald Trump is annual. He went through 4 of them, and probably there was an acting one in there as well. So I feel bad for Mike in that respect. Okay? Then, Marco Rubio. What? Marco Rubio, Secretary of State. So he now believes in Marco,
right.
Little Marco as he called him, Little Marco as our Secretary of State. Anybody want to jump in on that?
I think they're over their feud. Marco has been a very big supporter of Trump's.
I think it's a terrific choice. I think it shows what the direction that Trump is going in. Trump is basically has a philosophy that I happen to share, and it's that simply, if you stop punching me, I'll stop punching you. And
I'm good with that.
He was only fighting with Rubio because Rubio was trying to fight with him. And once it's over, it's over.
Yeah,
and he gets to move on like a grown up and actually do something. And I believe that Rubio is an outstanding pick.
On foreign policy, he's great. On foreign policy, he's a great hawk. I mean, I don't agree with a lot of his border issues or his other issues, but on foreign policy, which is why the Secretary of State is really dealing with the most, he's very well respected all across the world, and he's very knowledgeable. And I think he's going to be able to hit the ground running very well. I think he'll be replaced by another Republican, which we haven't noticed. It's an extremely red state.
And look, we're already getting into the short list.
Who's on the list right now? Who's on the list? Okay, let's go. Excuse me. I apologize.
Right now,
well, what? Who's the chief of staff?
No name guy.
Okay. Why would he be a good senator? Why would he be a good senator?
Well, I don't think he's on the Senate on the senator replacement thing. He's on the Mike Walz replacement.
No, actually, DeSantis, Rubio's chief of staff is actually first. Then the guy Jose Olivia, a former Speaker of the House.
Who?
Yeah, but Perry's ahead of him.
Who?
Okay.
You gotta explain these or read your full names, guys. Come on.
I'm actually pulling it up right now.
Jose Oliva, the cigar guy. Okay. My favorite state rep ever, because every time you went to his office, have a cigar. You know, since he makes them by the millions. I apologize. I was looking. Looking for the. Go ahead.
It's Paul Renner. I'm sorry. It's not Perry. I don't know why I thought it was thinking Perry. Paul Renner is the current Speaker of the Florida House, who is terming out.
Okay, in 2 years, and he's the current Speaker. We're going to session in what? What?
No, you only get 2 years as Speaker. All right, he's been Speaker for 2 years. He was Speaker on 13. And he's wrapping up 14 right now. So this is his last
23 and 24. So he's in the last 45 days of being Speaker
of his term anyway.
Of his term as well.
Yeah, when you're on the Speaker track, I mean, it's like 6 years working your way there, and then the last 2 of your eligibility, and that's when you become Speaker. Mm-hmm. Remember, I mean, and other people watching this may not know, but in Florida, legislators only have 8 years in their seat, and then they have to take a break, and then they can come back, but they're 8 years in their seat, as a term limit. So he is term limited out with this term. So actually kind of makes him a good replacement choice for Rubio.
Here, according to Newsweek, I got a list of like the top 10 from Newsweek.
Well, let's hear it.
You got Jeanette Nunez, who's a lieutenant governor. Ryan Donalds, who's a congressman from Naples. Matt Gaetz, who I don't think is going to make it.
African American, spoke at the convention. Okay.
Yeah, Ashley
Matt
Moody,
Gaetz,
who's the current
Matt
AG.
Gaetz
Is the Ashley Moody. Yeah, Wilson Simpson, who's the ag commissioner.
Mm-hmm.
And James Upmeyer, he's the chief of staff for DeSantis.
Never heard of him.
Upmeyer's going to get appointed. He's going to get appointed to one of these seats. Not the federal level. He's going to get appointed to one of these state seats.
Yeah, Jose Oliva is the other last one.
Okay. You're missing a name.
Ron DeSantis. Who's on Newsweek list? I don't think Ron DeSantis will do it.
I don't think he will.
You don't. Okay, well, he moves him to it moves him to a bigger stage. I know he goes from 1 of 50 to 1 of 100, but now he's where the TV cameras are.
But he's actually said today that he wants to keep quarterbacking Florida. He wants to keep running Florida the way he's running it.
Okay. Well, that's encouraging. How do we, now, just so everybody's sure, and I can't remember which amendment it was that calls for the governor to appoint the replacement senator that runs through the next general election. For the congressional vacancy, the governor must call a special election within 120 to 133 days of the resignation of that member of Congress. I just read it while we were cheating here. And so, and that goes for whoever the appointments are. I don't know what the proviso is for Florida replacing a lieutenant governor, which could almost set that next person up as the leading candidate for governor, since Ron DeSantis terms out in 2026. So talk to me, Goose. Come on.
The funny thing about lieutenant governors are that they're kind of like vice presidents. You pick them because of a constituency that they fill in your gap, but they generally are too weak to win an office on their own.
Okay. Gotcha.
Right.
Nice payoff. It's a nice payoff, though.
like,
If you've been a lawyer. Yeah. It's a nice payoff for being a loyal party member and such like that. So, all right. So,
for sure.
Yeah, Byron Donalds. With Byron Donalds, I don't have a problem. I think he could win statewide office. Are there anything? Are they any good things to say about Matt Gaetz, United States Senator?
I'll wait. I have nothing. No.
I can't imagine. Susie Wiles knows the truth about Matt Gaetz.
Ooh,
all right, so Susie was in Tallahassee long enough to where all the backdoor stuff that's happened to him, she knows. She knew about it as it happened because it was the talk of Tallahassee as it happened. So she knows, and I'd be very surprised. And she's not a Don Gaetz person that I know of. She was, she's got a lot of great connections. She's also not a DeSantis person because she got sided with DeSantis a couple of times. So it's a little hard for me to visualize her, picking someone who is as much of a liability as Matt is. Because my opinion about Matt is simply this: the higher that guy flies, the closer, the more likely he is to go to jail. And I think that's very obvious to anyone that sees him.
Right.
And it's going to be hard to get someone to put confidence in him to appoint him to a thing. But crazier things happen. It's politics. You never know.
I mean, the biggest thing is that Matt's going to go ahead and say that he's the one responsible for DeSantis existing, and he's the one responsible for Trump winning, and so I mean he has all those. You gotta pay me back somehow. But I really don't think there's any way that he could pass a cabinet appointment because he cannot pass being looked at by the House Ethics Committee. And
I don't think the Senate. I don't think the Senate would confirm him to begin with.
Exactly, he couldn't pass confirmation for anything. And so that if he can't get confirmed as a senator, I really doubt that he could be sat as a senator.
And here's the other problem I have.
Would appoint him.
Okay, there's that. The other problem I have is by grabbing these people, Mike, by grabbing Marco, one or two other members of Congress. We had a majority. The Republicans had a majority as of yesterday when the last vote was sealed, and it was 53 in the Senate. And I'm very sad that it wasn't 54. But I don't know what Carrie Lake's problem is, that she can't get 51% of the people of Arizona to love her.
Arizona, she's really good.
We don't. Listen, I think the whole state of Arizona is a bunch of freaking cheaters. Why it takes a week to count votes, I'll never know. What, Pony Express from the Indian reservations? Galloping into town.
Votes.
Yeah.
Rewrite them votes.
All right. So, have you all? So I worry about the majority in both houses of Congress, and based on the number of people he is appointing, I'm seeing ex-congressmen coming on, and I'm not too unhappy about that, to be very, very honest. Let me look at guess how many news releases I've gotten from the Trump campaign today. Okay. Let me start early just to make sure. Well, wait a minute. The day is not over yet, so there could be more, but I want to double check. Going through 11, 10, 9. Okay. The official. I'm waiting for the statement saying he has appointed Sean Hannity as press secretary. I'm waiting for that one, but not yet.
Yeah, well, if he does anything, he'll probably bring back Kayleigh McEnany because she's a beast. Well,
true.
But did you see this? Wait, all of it. Did you see this? This is the first time I'm seeing this. Apparently, Trump is going to nominate Pete Hegseth Secretary of Defense.
Hello, I've got the list right here. I've got the news release. I'm just going to run through them. Okay, I wanted to look at
Sorry, I was so shocked by that. Go ahead, please.
Okay, well, tell you what, Scott, look up how old Pete Hegseth is, okay? Just go ahead and look that up.
I know how old he is.
How old is he?
Yeah.
That's not the question. It's how old is he, not how he's young. Okay, so this came in at 1:15 this afternoon. Mike Waltz, hereby appointed to serve in my cabinet as my national security advisor. Army Special Forces, 27 years, and retired as a bird colonel. And so that's impressive. That's one appointment. Appointment number 2 issued today. Mike Huckabee, former governor of Arkansas, nominated to be the United States ambassador to Israel. At least Mike knows how to say all of the names that are in the Bible. Okay?
He does.
And I think he's been to Israel almost as many times as Tim Walz has been to China, except we know that Mike Huckabee isn't spying for freaking China. But Tim Walz, I'm not sure about. And I'm really glad he's back in Minnesota, and hopefully we will never hear from him again. Steve Witkoff, Special Envoy to the Middle East, and Chief Executive Officer of Witkoff, which he founded 25 plus years ago. Real estate expertise, financial repositioning, management, blah, blah, blah. Nobody that I really know. This number 4 came in at 5:30 this afternoon. William Joseph McGinley as White House counsel. Bill is a smart and tenacious lawyer. He was the White House cabinet secretary, played a major role in our election victory. Okay. Next one. Let's see. Here we go. Former Director of National Intelligence, John Ratcliffe, will serve as Director of the CIA. Now, here's the really weird part. The Director of National Intelligence ranks the Director of the CIA, and the DNI office was set up after 9/11 to make sure that all of the information is getting to the people who know, because guess what? The CIA was doing this with those 9/11 dudes, and the FBI was doing this, and they didn't talk to each other. God forbid that somebody else gets the freaking credit, right? So this is a good thing. And yet there's yet one more. Oh, no, another one. And this came in at 7 o'clock. And Pete Hegseth as the Secretary of Defense. Pete, Army veteran. Now listen, you can't cut slack. You cannot cut this guy down for not being an East Coaster. I mean, he could well have been a Democrat, graduating from Princeton, and then a graduate degree from Harvard, and then multiple tours, Iraq, Afghanistan, Gitmo, #1 bestseller called The War on Warriors. I read it just a couple of weeks ago, and let me tell you, he lays it all out for what the crap has gone through. And then this one just about, 2 more now have popped up in the last half hour.
Hold on. Before we get past Pete Hegseth, you got to remember he's the real deal. He's 44. He a veteran of the Iraq War, the Afghanistan War, 2 Bronze Stars, 2 Army Commendation Medals.
Yep.
And the most important single medal there is in the United States Army, and I stand by this, the Combat Infantryman's Badge. That's the blue thing with the rifle in the middle, and it's a big deal in the Army.
Yeah, it is.
I agree. That is an awesome one, but he also has the additional expert infantry badge.
Oh, so no,
he's a soldier.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm 44 years old. He will be probably one of the young, if not the youngest probably the youngest Secretary of Defense. You'd have to look up and see how old. No, McNamara was 50 something when Kennedy appointed him in 61.
Right, yeah.
I know that because he was one of the geniuses. Anyway, so McNamara would be pretty young, but everybody else way older than that. Lloyd Austin, when he got the job, had just turned 66, I think, for Biden. So next one. The hits just keep on coming. I was shocked. Honest to God, I was shocked. And I wonder if Pete's going to he does the weekend morning anchor on Fox, the Fox and Friends morning shows. I wonder if he's going to miss getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Oh, wait a minute. When the phone rings, they say, guess what happened? Now, this is the one that I think everybody is going to, let me look at this second. I've gotten 2 since we sat down. Here we go. Governor Kristi Noem of South Dakota will be Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. And she was the very first governor, I love this, that sent National Guard down to Texas to help with the border crisis. And she'll work with Tom Homan, who is the now designated border czar. And so good for her. And this one, what? Go ahead. What do
Oh
you?
no, it's awesome. I think it's awesome. But by the way, I did just find out that Hegseth is not going to be the youngest.
Really? That surprises me.
Beating him by 1 year, Donald Rumsfeld.
That's true. Rummy was pretty young.
Well, he was
under Gerald Ford. He was 43.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, and try this on for size. Then Rumsfeld came back under
Bush,
Reagan, under Bush,
the
younger.
Bush W. Yeah.
Okay, so he was the youngest, and then when he left office with Reagan, he was the oldest. That Jerry Brown has that distinction as the governor of California. And Don Rumsfeld, a decorated naval aviator who, didn't you have a naval aviator in your family, Scott? Who knew? They may have flown together. He flew A6s, A6 Intruder attack aircraft. And try this one really blew me away. Ready? I am pleased to announce that the great Elon Musk, working in conjunction with the American patriot Vivek Ramaswamy, will lead the Department of Government Efficiency. Together, these two wonderful Americans will pave the way for my administration to dismantle government bureaucracy, slash excess regulations, cut wasteful expenditures, restructure federal agencies essential to the Save America movement. This will send shockwaves through the system and anyone involved in government waste, which is a lot of people. Wow. It'll be the Manhattan Project of our time. Joe Biden never got his moonshot to cure cancer. Could never get people fired up about that, okay? And they will, these guys, between the two of them, they'll partner with the White House the White House and the Office of Management and Budget. And he said they're going to make changes with an eye towards efficiency, make life better for all Americans. And this department goes away July 4th, 2026, if Trump has his way, because all of the changes will have been made by then. I think that I want to spike the football again, guys. Really?
Exactly.
Wow. I need a drink. I need a cigarette. I feel like I need a cigarette and a beer, you know? It's,
this is what freedom sounds like, guys. This is what freedom looks like.
No doubt. And by the way, you do get the joke about the Department of Government Efficiency, right?
Go ahead. Tell them the joke.
So you remember the cryptocurrency called Dogecoin?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That Elon started? It's spelled DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency. Doge.
Yep.
That's funny.
That's just an internet meme, but when we can name your department after an internet meme, that's pretty damn cool.
That's pretty good. Blown away.
Well, it looks like we are on the right direction. And right now, tentatively, they got Marco Rubio slated for Secretary of State, as we discussed earlier. Hasn't been formally announced yet, but it probably will be very soon. And hopefully tomorrow, or by the time this is airing, we will have Rick Scott as the majority leader in the Senate. Who's the only majority leader who's a MAGA guy out of the three running. Thune is a McConnell 2.0, and Cornyn is just crazy.
Yeah.
Why do you say Cornyn's crazy? No, he's not a MAGA guy, but you want leadership.
He's a conservative.
He seems to be, he's a conservative, but I think he's conservative on all the issues to the right degree. I think he's a little bit far to the right on some things. And I mean, you had to be able to work with the Democrats and work with everybody. I mean, that's one thing McConnell did too much of, but you have to be able to do it a little bit. I don't think Cornyn would be able to work with anybody at all.
Listen, McConnell bent over, reached behind him, and spread his cheeks to deal with the Democrats. Okay, and he, honest to God, should have been gone 6-8 years ago. Really,
he should have been.
I have no problem.
I don't think Cornyn is as good at working with other people as Rick Scott is. Rick Scott did a great job when he was the governor of Florida. He's done a great job as a U.S. senator. He understands how to, build coalitions. I think he'll do a great job as a Senate Majority Leader.
What percentage should he get of the
and
vote?
I agree. I mean, I think we all
He actually did it. He got a landslide this year for himself. He only had 54%,
Well, I mean,
55%,
how
which
much?
for him was like a landslide.
54? Okay.
I think 54 or 55.
Okay. Just
well,
checking.
I think we all know, all three of us know Rick Scott pretty well, and
Yep.
out of the three people that are the front runners on the LC, I can't think of anyone that would fit that seat better than Rick Scott. I mean, for the reasons that Greg was just talking about, because he has a focus to work with people without giving up the farm. Working with people for Rick Scott doesn't mean he's got to give up everything. He can make appropriate compromises that doesn't give up the farm.
Yeah, actually, he got 55.6% compared to his opponent, which was 42.8%. So for him, that was a record landslide. For this is a guy who's never won a race by more than 2 points. And his opponent only got 42.8%.
Well, I don't think it's a landslide for him. I think it's a landslide for pretty much anybody.
Well, it is, but for him, it's great. It's definitely a mandate.
It is out of character, but it is wonderful.
Hey, Greg, do you have the visuals of the vote, the red and blue counties, and then I think it's the percentage of land that they involve? Have you seen the two of those? No?
For president?
Yeah,
I've
for
seen
president.
I've seen
I
it.
know the percentage, though.
All right. Well, hey, I'll tell you what I'm going to do is
I'll
I'll email.
My favorite caption.
I got it right here in front of me.
My favorite caption for it is when they say that we don't have any red state, we just have a lot of blue cities.
I think that's pretty accurate. Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
It's really impressive, though. There are two or three other things that go with that. Let's see. There's that. I'm going to send the second one, which is really, and you got to do a side-by-side comparison. And, Scott, you know what? I'll send it to you as well. And so we'll discuss this because this is where Greg goes in post-production and slaps them on the screen in front of you. And it goes like this. You can look at all the places that voted for her. They are in blue. All the places that voted for red, for him, and those are in red. So you're at Miller Co., right, Scott?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, there you go. Super. And so that's the state by state. And let's see.
Sorry, there we go.
Now but that's state by state. I want county by county. Then it gets even more impressive.
County by county.
County by county. That's what I just sent you. And then the next one is, and this is the one you really want to put on the facing screens, and that is what she won and the voter ID rules there. You guys should have that by now, I hope. And it's
I love that one.
It's fascinating.
I love that one.
How does that even happen? Wow. I'm just blown away.
It definitely tells a story. It certainly tells you why the Democrats, fight so fiercely for no voter ID.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not even sure. Maybe I just saw this on Facebook and I meant to save it and didn't get around to it. And not done yet. Not done yet. But so it's really fascinating, though, where she won. And, as I've said, there are more people in Los Angeles County. What's the number? 16, 18 states are not as big population-wise as the city of Los Angeles,
right.
or L.A. County. And, you have all those people brainwashed. And what do you expect,
I mean, if you look at a comparison from California from 2020 to 2024,
that one too.
Huge. How Republicans are taking over California.
Not enough. Not enough.
I honestly think that 2 more years and we may turn that state.
4 years.
Wow.
No,
4 years?
I think 2 years of Trump, 2 years of Trump, doing the opposite of what they said he was going to do.
Oh, yes, that's very true. Yeah, they actually leave him alone with a Republican Senate, they can, and a Republican House, they can.
Yeah.
Well, since he's going to be focusing a lot on getting rid on cutting away the federal regulations, I think that that's going to be regardless of what California or New York or any of these other blue states think.
Now, who's up for the Treasury Secretary? I know Paulson bowed out today.
Yeah.
So Hank Paulson bowed out.
Listen, this is a freaking merry-go-round, and I don't know what horses are bolting and who's jumping on while it's spinning, man. It's crazy.
Right.
There is a curse. There's an ancient Chinese curse that says, may you live in interesting times. As a newsman, all of my life, that was the best thing. I wanted to live in interesting times. But now that you're there and you're trying to keep track of who's on first, and she was like, wow.
Abbott and Costello routine.
Or no doubt.
So, yeah, well, we know who's on first, but it's just one of those bizarro thing. I mean, it's brutal. Just brutal.
It is.
But so I kind of wonder, Trump is calling people just all over the place. They're just calling people all over and getting them to hiring them. I mean, Pete Hegseth, a couple days ago was anchoring the Fox Sunday morning show, Saturday and Sunday morning.
Show Fox Nation.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you getting paid a lot more than he's going to get paid in the federal government.
And a big pay cut. His wife's going to be like, what are you doing, honey?
I think you get a cool house.
What's happening? You
get a cool house at Fort Myer, which means it's like about a 1.5 mile commute. So that doesn't suck. That's a wait.
Fair enough.
Wait a minute.
No trouble.
It's I don't know. We'll find out. Hello, it's Rob. Yes. I'll hold for yes. I'll hold. Maybe he wants me to be the White House press secretary.
That would be great.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He's calling everybody. Just the phone's ringing. Call him. Thank you. I thought that up myself pre-show.
You might be Rick Scott's new press secretary.
That's funny.
Oh, hey, Rick Scott called. I'd say you bet. I'm on the way, man. Where can I get in? Where can I afford an apartment in D.C.? There's the real question. At least the congressmen have the option of sleeping in their office. Maybe Rick's got a garage apartment that he can lease. So
weirdly enough, in D.C., it's cheaper to rent an office that you can sleep in than it is to buy an apartment.
It is.
Okay. I hope we have that problem. Now, one of us has that problem.
Right.
That'd be a good problem to have.
Good problem to have, for sure.
Yeah. What? Anything else, Greg? It's been a whole week. We talked last Wednesday, post-election, and we were all, I think, mentally exhausted and physically just.
We're busy investigating Alachua County's voting rolls here, as it will probably be an ongoing saga here in Alachua County of all the fraud that we've seen.
Does anyone ever get arrested, get convicted, and go to jail over crap like that?
Well, but yes, they do.
They do. Actually, they do. They actually do, yes.
Yeah, but you have to have people like us to go after it, and that's what we're going to be doing.
Okay, good. What about any more follow-up statements, observations about polling that took place up to Election Day? How many of those? I mean, I tell you what, would you compile a list and put it up on the screen right here of the ones you cannot do? Why do they bother? Why do they bother? Because I'm telling you guys, we always talk about what's the school with the funny name up in the Northeast? Quinnipiac, right? And Marist, and Quinnipiac is the word quack is part of their name, and if you go back, say Labor Day, we'll just start at Labor Day, take it all the way to the election, and tell me who was on track.
Somebody basically said, if you just will listen to Gallup doesn't do election polls anymore because they got out of the election polling. But they do partisan trends. And so what Gallup did was they asked people what are they more affiliated with? Are they more affiliated with a Democrat field or a Republican field? And this is the first time they've had like 10 years the majority of the country be Republican. And so they had that data 2 or 3 weeks before the election. And Camilla had it. But they didn't seem to realize that 54% of the country was more sentimental on the Republican side than on the Democrat side. And that was the first time it's been like that in several years. And so I think that one, was correct. I think we're seeing a trend. And Gallup has been around for a long time, but they also are very good about not doing any exact polling, because whenever they got wrong really bad in the 90s, they stopped doing political polling after the I think it's 96 election, the Bob Dole and Clinton. That's where they really
all right, I repeat, back up a couple steps. All right,
you want general ballots.
Okay, 54% identify as a Republican or lean Republican or what? Say that number again.
Yeah, I think 53 or 54% was leaning Republican.
What was Trump's percentage of the vote on last Tuesday?
Let's see here. 50.4.
That's all. Wow. Oh, okay.
Yeah, 50.2.
I thought it would line up a little bit more, but all right.
There's a margin of error.
Well, duh. Yeah.
Margin
but once
of error
the vote,
is 4%.
If you're inside the margin of error, there's not much you can do about that. Yes. But I want you to put up on the screen right here when we do the post the trustworthy and the why do they bother list of pollsters, and we'll just know that in 2 years, 4 years, whatever, that these guys are just blowing smoke and basically taking money from newspapers and networks and that sort of thing. So, folks, Greg's been doing this an awful long time, and you can take this one to the bank. And I keep telling him that this is a really good time for him to go to New York and D.C. and peddle his wares in front of the people who really would pay the mostest money for that. Okay. And I thought there was another email from President Trump. Let's see. Double check.
From Melania.
Yeah. As we do this on Tuesday night, on Wednesday, President Trump will go back and visit his old public housing unit called the White House. And what? That's pretty accurate, don't you think so?
Mar-a-Lago, yes, it will be public housing, yes.
Yeah, and he's going to go back and talk to the guy who's squatting there now. But Melania Trump is not going to go back. Do you know why?
She's not, huh?
She's pissed. She is pissed that Joe Biden, the president of the United States, sent the FBI to her house in Palm Beach in a raid that got FBI agents going through her underwear drawer. Hang on a second. Let me kind of enjoy that part for a second. Yeah, but a lot different than Mamie Eisenhower, Barbara Bush. Okay, that's a visual on that.
Where are you going here, man?
She frankly, Melania is pissed that Joe Biden did that. She doesn't need to see Jill Biden, Dr. Biden, because guess what? Melania already knows the White House. She knows how to decorate it, and I guarantee it'll look a lot better on January 21st than it looks on January 19th. So, there's that.
I think if Melania met Joe Biden, she would have a very hard time not slapping the taste out of that lady's mouth.
She's already met Jill Biden. But
I mean now.
Right. Well, hey, wait till the inauguration, and they're supposed to make nice. And I don't think you're going to see her making nice to Jill Biden at all.
No.
And Melania will probably be physically a half a step ahead of Jill Biden wherever they have to walk to get in a limo or go up on the reviewing stand or whatever. And I got no problem with that at all. And she frankly deserves it. And as I've I talked to a longtime friend who was a police detective, and we were talking about the election, and I said, there's one person who's responsible for Kamala Harris losing the election, and that's Jill Biden, because she would be guilty. She would be arrested, charged, convicted, and gone to jail for elder abuse over the last 2 years of her husband.
I was going to ask you about that.
Period, by any stretch of the imagination. Okay?
Because that's the one thing that has been going on the last week since the election is everybody's trying to find out on the Democrat side who is there to blame. Nancy Pelosi is blaming Joe for not getting out of the race earlier, as she asked him to. And so...
so he's supposed to be a mind reader now. Okay, got it. He can't figure out where the damn applesauce is. He should have had an intervention. An intervention. Everybody, all the 10 or 12 people go to the Oval Office. They sit down and say, Mr. President, we love you. You got to go. 25th Amendment time. That's all there is to it. The cabinet's in the cabinet room. You got the top 10, Schumer, Pelosi, Kamala, a couple of others, including Jill, and who would say it's time to go. Had they done that in earlier this year, it may be a whole different ballpark we'd be playing in right now. Okay, we wouldn't be spiking the ball.
If you look at the fundraising that Camilla went through, she went through $9,900,000 a day at $1 billion for 110 days. She could have paid off a lot of filled up the coffers of every single person running for Congress in the Democrat Party. Made sure they stacked the House very well. But it was just $2.5 million. And she could have bought a lot of loyalty with that. Everything else by helping the people who are running in the Democrat Party run for office. She could have bought a lot of surrogates and a lot of volunteers with that, which she did not do. She gave $1 million to Oprah, gave $2 million to Beyonce. Spent $15 million on a party, on the 29th or 30th of October or something. It's ridiculous the money that she spent. Whenever those reports come out, how they spend their money, it's going to be so embarrassing. How they're $20 million still in debt. Their staff hasn't been paid yet. A lot of the campaign people have not been paid because it's all winners.
Excuse me, let me get tuned up here. Hang on, let me.
That's what Democrats care about you.
I'm just playing this little violin and sad music.
Little violin, exactly.
Okay, they're welcome to it. They're freaking welcome to it. Hey, you know what you're welcome to,
That's
gang?
What you get.
You're welcome to this Political Matrix News tumbler, thermal tumbler, stainless steel.
Yes.
Got a nice plastic top, comes a metal straw hole. This is the 20-ounce kind, so it'll hold almost 2 soda cans or 1 large Mountain Dew, which is what we live on around here. And if you don't like this design, we have the one for those who can't see right here, political.
The extra large.
The extra large. Again, both are 20 ounces. They are only $24.95. And cash, check, money order, Zoom, Zelle, and Cash App, and whatever else. And by the way, we do appreciate any likes, shares. If you have a dislike, do it on somebody else's page. We're busting our ass here to be entertaining and educated about what the hell's going on in the world. So, Scott, any final thoughts?
Well, I just want to add one thing on to you. You remember, we use all the words that the internet algorithms hate. We talk about guns. We talk about politics. We talk about people getting killed and all these things because we talk about the real story. Unfortunately, the algorithm works against us. So even if you have liked us in the past, even if you've subscribed, even if you've followed us in the past, make sure you keep checking on it because the only way for you to continue to get the content that we bring is to make sure that you're defeating the algorithm.
Exactly.
So please kick up on that because we're going to beat this darn internet thing someday. Maybe when Elon is the Doge of Doge, then we'll get this stuff straightened out.
He'll be the internet czar.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, there you go. Greg, final thoughts.
Pretty much, I think I'm very excited about what's happened so far. We haven't even talked about the foreign policy issues yet because I know we've gone a little bit long here. Hamas wants to cut a deal. Hezbollah wants to cut a deal. Everybody wants to cut a deal. I mean, I think it's great that everybody is so ready to go ahead and move on with this wonderful administration here of Trump. And I also think it's a little echo, though, what you said earlier, what Mike Scalise said earlier today, is that as much as he's very happy that Trump is picking from the Congress, please stop. And so
Right.
just cut it off there, because it's a very narrow Congress right now. And so we need to make sure we still keep the majority. And so that's one thing Scalise also said earlier today, was he appreciates his love for the congressmen and their quality of work, but please just stop. And
Who's going to be elected speaker?
Please just stop.
What?
Who? Lee, speaker. Who's going to be speaker?
Scalise. Oh, it's Mike Johnson.
Oh, no, Mike Johnson. Mike Johnson will stay.
Scalise is a majority whip.
Why? I mean, why wouldn't speaker? Okay, that's fine. That's what I wanted to. I was double checking. Thinking, all right, we'll see. Knock on wood.
All right, Louisiana boy. That Louisiana boy's doing good.
And Scott, by the way, the only time. All right, Scott. The only thing when you talked about the hurting someone to the point of a fatality or using a generally gunpowder charged object. Other than you, we didn't mention that this entire episode, so we should be pretty clean. Should be pretty clean. Which way it goes.
Well, you are correct, and all I'm saying is that we don't govern ourselves according to the internet rules generally. Okay. So if it's appropriate to say, we say it. We don't say it gratuitously, but we do say it when it's appropriate.
Exactly. All right. On behalf of Greg Fink, trying to get things cleaned up in Alachua County, Gainesville, Scott Miller, who is building a better tomorrow in Northwest Florida. And he's in Pensacola. I'm Rob Milford in Orlando. Thanks for joining us for another fun-filled and exciting episode of the Political Matrix News.